So, you've probably heard about the wild world of crypto trading, right? It's on 24/7, it seems chaotic, but how does it actually work? Well, to really get it, we're going to start somewhere a little more familiar, the giant foreign exchange market, FX. Stick with me, and you'll see just how the old world of money really set the stage for this new digital frontier.
All right, here's what we've got on tap. We'll start with the world's biggest market, then jump into crypto exchanges. From there, we'll break down how a trade happens, talk about how regulation is shaking things up, and wrap it all up with a look at where this is all heading, the hybrid model.
Okay, let's start somewhere we all kind of know. Long before Bitcoin was a thing, there was the foreign exchange market. I mean, this is the invisible engine that powers the whole global economy. And it is, no exaggeration, the biggest, most liquid financial market on the entire planet.
Just to give you a sense of scale, I want you to really look at this number. We're not talking millions or even billions. That's $6.5 trillion. And get this, that's how much currency is traded on the FX market every single day. It makes the stock market, the bond market, all of it look tiny. It's just a mind-bending amount of money constantly flowing around the globe. So what is this market really? Well, you can think of it as the world's biggest swap meet, but for money. It's where national currencies like the US dollar get traded for the Japanese yen or the euro for the British pound. And the crazy part? It's completely decentralized. There's no one building, no central hub. It just exists everywhere. That's why it can run 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, basically following the sun from Tokyo to London to New York. With a market that huge, you need a simple way to keep track of everything. So every currency gets its own little 3-letter nickname. USD for the dollar, JPY for the yen, you get the idea. It's just a super simple system, so everyone's on the same page. Now hang on to that thought because, does that sound familiar? It should. It's basically the grandpa of all the crypto tickers you see today, like BTC for Bitcoin and ETH for Ethereum.
All right, so we've got our feet on solid ground with traditional money. Now, let's see what happens when you take those core ideas, trading, exchanges, and blast them into the digital age. So, a crypto exchange, what is it? Honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the online marketplace, the digital version of that FX market we just talked about. It's where you go to trade assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, either for other cryptos or for regular old cash like US dollars. Okay, and right here you can really see how these two are related, but also how crypto is the wild younger sibling. The type of asset is obviously different, digital cash versus government money. But check out the hours. Crypto doesn't sleep, ever. 24/7, 365. And maybe the biggest deal of all, settlement. It completely sidesteps the banks and uses the blockchain instead. I mean, these aren't small tweaks, they're total game changers. All right, we know what an exchange is, but what's really going on when you hit that buy button? How does your click become a legit, completed trade? Let's pop the hood and take a look. Well, it turns out exchanges come in a few different flavors. First, you've got your centralized exchanges, or CEX. These are the big names you've probably heard of, run by a single company. Then you have decentralized exchanges, or DEXs. These are a whole different beast. They run peer-to-peer with no boss, just code. And then you have the hybrids, which are trying to give you the best of both worlds. So let's stick with the most common kind for a second, the centralized exchange. The whole process is actually pretty simple, especially if you've ever used something like an online stock trading app. You make an account, you verify who you are, that's the whole know your customer or KYC part. You put some money in, and boom, you're ready to go. From there, the exchange's computer system does all the hard work of finding someone to take the other side of your trade.
Now, the absolute core of a centralized exchange, its beating heart, is the order book. Seriously, picture a live digital battlefield between buyers and sellers. It's a list, updated in real time, of every single buy and sell order out there, and everyone can see it. That transparency is how the market discovers what the price of something should be second by second.
So when you go to make that trade, you basically have a choice to make. Do you want speed or do you want control? If you want speed, you use a market order. That just means buy it now at whatever the best price is. But if you want control, you use a limit order. You say, I'm only willing to buy at this specific price or lower. The catch? Your order might just sit there if the price never drops to your number. Okay, but decentralized exchanges? They look at that whole order book system and just toss it in the trash. They use a totally different setup called an automated market maker, or AMM. It's pretty wild. Instead of matching one buyer to one seller,
people just pool their money together into these giant digital buckets called liquidity pools. Then, trades happen automatically against those pools, all run by smart contracts. It's a market built on pure code, no middlemen. So now you see these two very different ways of doing things, the centralized corporate model and the decentralized code is law model. And the choice between them is getting more and more critical because the biggest thing changing this entire landscape isn't some new tech. Nope, it's regulation. Governments are finally stepping in and they're picking winners and losers.
And this quote here from David Krause, it just nails it. What he's saying is that the whole original idea for Bitcoin, digital cash you can send anyone, is being intentionally sidelined. And why? Because regulators want something they can manage.
Now, the analysis we're looking at uses this really interesting, though fictional example to show how this works. Imagine a big new law gets passed. It creates official rules for digital money, right? But in doing so, it draws a line in the sand, a regulatory perimeter. It basically says this type of digital currency is okay, it's one of us now, and everything else, like Bitcoin, gets left outside the fence.
So which asset gets invited inside the fence? The stablecoin. And it's the total opposite of something like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price is all over the place, right? Super volatile. A stablecoin is built for one thing, stability. Its value is pegged usually to the US dollar, and it's supposed to be backed by actual dollars in a bank account, one for one. And when you look at the on-chain data from this analysis, the impact of a regulatory shift like that is just, wow, it's dramatic. By late 2025, a crazy 93% of all the money moving on public blockchains had flooded into these regulated stablecoins. They basically became the way to do digital payments, almost overnight. And this chart right here shows you exactly why regulators love them so much. Forget the details for a second, just look at the shapes. You've got these jagged mountain range lines for things like Bitcoin, and then you've got these flat, calm, predictable lines for stablecoins. If you're a government and you want a stable financial system, which one are you going to choose? It's a no-brainer. This whole situation has led to what the source calls political orphanhood for Bitcoin. Think of it this way. It's not illegal. Nobody's taking it away from you. But it's not invited to the party either. It's been deliberately left out of the new, official, regulated system. So it can't exist as a kind of digital gold, something you invest in, but not as a tool for buying your coffee.
So you've got this huge tension, right? The regulated world versus the permissionless, unregulated one. Where is all this headed? Well, it looks like the future isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about building a bridge between them. And that bridge is the hybrid model. So here's the genius of the hybrid model. It takes the best piece from the centralized world, a super fast system for matching up trades that runs off-chain for speed. But for the most important part, the actual settlement where the money changes hands, it uses the decentralized world's best feature, secure on-chain smart contracts. So you get the speed of a CX with the you control your own keys security of a DEX. Best of both worlds. And that really leaves us with one big final question, doesn't it? As we head towards this more regulated, hybrid future, we're watching a massive trade-off happen in real time. Is the original, wild, open to any one promise of crypto being swapped for something safer, faster, and more institutional? That's really the core conflict that's going to define the future of money.